thunder rolls, sails snap in the night wind. They laughed at him, called him a drunk, a fool, more silk than steel. But on one hell-drenched morning in 1728, Calico Jack Rackham did the unthinkable. He tore through the British Navy with a stolen ship, half a crew, and 2 women more ruthless than any man aboard. This is not a tale of gold. It's a story of fury, betrayal, and a pirate who wouldn't die quietly. Rising string tension, slow burn. Jackham wasn't born for glory. He was born in the cracks, where men lie, cheat, and barter for breath. Nobody feared the name Calico Jack. He wasn't Blackbeard. He wasn't Flint. He was charming, clean, and at times pathetic, but beneath the colored coats and soft words burned a deeper defiance. F rage, only tempered by ambition. And F her, Anne Bonny. Fire crackles. Distant laughter turns coldy. Jack met her in Nassau. Or rather, she chose him. Red hair like flame, a temper twice as wild. Anne Bonny wasn't a pirate's mistress. She was a pirate. Bloodthirsty, proud, loyal, until betrayed. And Jack tried his charm. Some say she tried to kill him the first night. Others say she simply smiled and said, "Tor, if you're not braver than your rum, don't talk to me again." That was the beginning. High ambient creaking wood waves whispering secrets. Together, they stole a sloop. There's revenge. Not much but fast, light, and with every port raid, every merchant skinned of silver, they became wildfire. Anne brought her blade, Jack his tactics, and soon, there was another shadow sharpening among the crew. Mary Reed, a soldier turned outlaw, dressed as a man but known as a storm. Nassau whispered of Anne and Mary, twin devils of the sea, and Jack rode the legend they carved until the crown took notice. Her church bells toll, followed by cannon echo. By autumn of 1720, Governor Woodes Rogers had had enough. He was sending warships, a fleet under the British flag. 3 vessels set out to trap and gut the outlaw lovers. Jack had barely 30 men. Outnumbered, surrounded in the Caribbean Straits near Jamaica. Most captains would run, some would beg, but Jack smiled. "Let the bastards come," he whispered. "They want a pirate, we'll give 'em hell instead." Her heartbeat, like drum, begins, slow, rising. That night, they struck first. Jack's sloop skimmed across moonlit waters like blood on glass, silent, nimble, straight into the path of a British brig, the Mercy Queen. She never suspected. 1 cannon fired. But from below the horizon, a trick Jack had learned from Spanish corsairs. They slashed through her rudder before the first officer woke from his cot. Then there was fire. Anne and Mary led the boarding, but not in disguise, not in fear, but bare-faced, blades red and eyes colder than prison walls. One sailor swore to his grave tore. They didn't speak, they screamed, not like women, not like men either, like demons in stormlight. The Mercy Queen sank before sunrise. That should have been the end. But Jack wanted witnesses. He left 1 lifeboat adrift, a sailor inside soaked in blood, babbling of red-haired, banshees and smoke-draped pirates. That message reached the crown within weeks. And they answered, with 3 more ships. Her wind howls. Short silence. Now, the full royal fleet circled him. At Port Royal's edge, every man around Jack said to abandon the sea, hide, take the gold and vanish into the mangroves. But Jack looked at the horizon, then at Anne, and Mary, and smiled. If they want our heads, they'll have to take what's left of their ships to find them. But here's what they didn't know: Jack had already booby-trapped the strait. Shallow reefs mapped from his time smuggling rum undetected. Fake lights lured ships off course. Decoys scattered like ghosts. Anne and Mary held back their blades for the last clash, and when that final trap was set, hell opened. Her heavy cannons, wood splinters, men scream, sea roars. A Jack charged directly into the lead ship. The Hound, mast shattered, spars ripped. Anne hurled a torch straight into her powder magazine. She vanished in flame. The second ship tried to flank, and met rocks Jack had baited them toward using lantern signals. The third turned to flee too late. "He didn't kill them all," said one survivor. "He humiliated them." Silence returns, heavy, like cannon aftermath. By dawn, the strait was black with smoke, wreckage steaming in rising light. What Calico Jack did with 30 pirates and a sloop has no equal, for not in British archives, not in royal reports, because no one wanted to believe it was him. The pirate they'd mocked in silk, the fool with women at his side. If you're still sailing with us through this dark tale, raise your flag and hit that subscribe button. Join the crew of Dead Men Tals, where legends never truly die. Soft ticking like the ocean catching its breath, but glory has a cost. Word of Jack's vengeance echoed through England, but in the Caribbean, behind taverns and locked doors, it echoed louder, through the governor's quarters, and into the mind of a man obsessed with erasing pirates from the world. A man who would stop at nothing to end Calico Jack. A thunder builds again, something dark approaching, a soft rain, a noose creaks in the wind. His name was Jonathan Barnett, former pirate hunter, now soaked in royal gold and unforgiving purpose. When he heard that Calico Jack had destroyed part of His Majesty's fleet, he made a vow. I will catch him, and I'll see his bones scattered on Jamaica's shore. Barnett knew what others ignored, that Jack wasn't insane. He was precise, predictable in a dangerous way. He struck with anger, but retreated with thought. And so began the quiet hunt. No fanfare, no fleets. Just one silent vessel, cutting through moonlight like a blade through canvas. But Jack, he was too drunk on victory to see the noose tightening. Firelight flickers, laughter in a cabin. After weeks of wreckage and reckless freedom, a Jack anchored near Negro. Rum flowed inside the Revenge. The crew danced, sang, collapsed across the decks. Even Anna, even Mary drank. They were reckless that night. And Barnett, he was just watching, waiting. Like a shark in distance water. Invisible, inevitable. A sharp tilt in music, something wrong midnight. October 20 suits 1720, the Revenge drifted. Silent, barely manned. Most were passed out from rum, guns unloaded. Barnett struck. A single warning shot cracked the air. Then came the orders to, in the name of His Majesty the King, strike your colors now. Jack staggered from below deck, clutching a bottle and a belt, half fastened. Some say he tried to rouse the men. Others that he tried to sail away. But sleep and drink are chains you can't break in seconds. Barnett opened fire. Her guns ignite. Brief chaos, then yelling cannonballs split the rigging. Grappling hooks clattered across the deck. By the time Jack picked up his sword, it was too late. And you know who fought until the end. Not the men. Anne Bonny and Mary Read. They came screaming to the upper deck. Swords drawn. Hacking through Marines like plague through a convent. Anne shouted at the crew. If anyone here had the balls they claimed to, we wouldn't have been taken. But no answer came. Only heavy boots and the taste of salt and powder. They were overrun. Mary was wounded. Anne disarmed. Jack dragged to his knees, and as the waves calmed as dawn cracked across the wreckage of broken Pridey, Barnett stepped forward. Calm, methodical. Jack Rackham. By order of the crown you are to hang. Low, grim drums. Slow march tempo. They were taken to Spanish Town. The trial was swift. Brutal. 32 charges of piracy, theft, murder, and rebellion. The court expected noise. But Jack said nothing. Anne. She glared at the counsel, spat at the guard. But it was Mary, half limping from her wound, who growled, if they'd fought like men, they wouldn't be hanging like a dog's. Short silence, chains rattle. October 28, 1720. Jack Rackham was hanged. They strung him from Gallows Point facing the sea, left him to rot in a cage, and named the spot after him, Les Rackham's Quay. 6 But legends don't die in sun or soil. Because Anne Bonny, she was pregnant and sentenced to hang after giving birth. She vanished. No guard ever confirmed her death. No grave was marked. No one ever saw the body. As for Mary Read, she died in prison, or so they say, but rumors persist of 2 women boarding a ship near Tortuga, the vanishing into storms. Some say they found new lives across the ocean, others that they never stopped parroting. Her wind on ship's sails mournful flute in distance, and Jack Rackham never sank an entire empire's fleet. But for one night, with barely 30 souls, he made an empire bleed. He shattered the myth that only giants carve legend, and proved that sometimes, it's the ones you doubt, that set the world on fire. A man mocked for silk, remembered for storms. A lantern fades, rope swings in silence, a history wrote him down in shame. But the sea remembers fire. Join the crew or beware the tide, the sea dead men tales.